Hi there, Rati here with Mami Beluga Investing. This is my very first video in English. In this series, I will discuss Singapore stock traded at SGX. I have not made any direct position in SGX. However, I've been consistently purchasing SPDR STI ETF since mid-2020. Okay, my aim for this series is to discuss the performance of the stock that part of the index one by one. I will look into their profitability, their resistance to crisis, and finally I answer the question, should I take the position for that particular stock? So I'll start with this series by discussing DBS holding. DBS Bank is my first bank account in Singapore, so it's quite special. As a student back then, almost 10 years ago. Okay, as for today, 13 March 2021, DBS Group Holdings Limited stock, or D05, made 16.7% of the index, which is the largest component. Okay, my quick take for DBS is, first, it is an excellent performing company that would be a nice part of anyone's portfolio. 2. However, I will not take any position on DBS right now as the price is rather steep as compared to its earnings. Furthermore, a single lot price of DBS around 2,800 Singapore dollar is way beyond my current cash capability. Okay, how did I come out with those conclusions? Keep watching this video till the end. A little disclaimer before we move on. This is an amateur video. My main intention is to record my learning journey and practicing investing from scratch. This video shall not replace any financial advice and neither suggestion to take up position, buy or sell in the stock market. Please conduct your own research before making any decision. And finally, before we move on, feel free to put your comments, criticism and suggestions in the comment section. But please be nice to me as this is my first video for Singapore stock. Okay, let's talk a little bit about DBS Holding profile. DBS Holding is listed in SGX main board as stock symbol D05. DBS is a leading financial services group in Asia with a presence in 18 markets. Headquartered and listed in Singapore, DBS has a growing presence in 3 key Asian axes of growth: Greater China, Southeast Asia, and South Asia. The largest shareholder of DBS as of 11 February 2020 is Temasek Holding Private Limited, which effectively control about 47.83% of the share, which consists of 29.91% of direct ownership and 17.92% via Maju Holding Private Limited. Maju Holding Private Limited, or Maju, is a wholly owned subsidiary of Temasek Holdings Private Limited. Temasek, a company wholly owned by the Minister for Finance of Singapore, is deemed to be interested in all of the ordinary shares held by Maju. Okay, now let's look at the profitability of DBS Holding. For this purpose, I've plotted DBS earning per share, in short EPS, for the last 11 years. The EPS plotted as red circle connected with red line. Along with that, I've added horizontal dashed green line to mark the zero level. Any EPS below the green line indicates that the company has suffered a loss for that year. From the plot, we can see that DBS has never suffered any losses for the last 11 years. That's impressive. Its profit seems to increase year by year, except rather flat in 2015-2017 and a large drop in 2020. However, 2020 is rather special, as we all know, where we have the pandemic and market fear situation. Okay, now let's look at how the company performed during crisis. That is the recent crisis since 2020, and I believe it still continues till this year, 2021. Okay, here on the screen, I plot the EPS in more detail. What we can see on the screen are annualized quarterly EPS from 2017 up to 2020. Similar to the graphic in the previous slide, the EPS is plotted as round red markers connected by thick line. Okay, let's look at the plot closer. Look at the numbers. We can see that profit decline had happened since 2019. Meanwhile, in 2020, DBS income is relatively stable. So it seems that the pandemic has not immediately impacted DBS performance. In this case, I think it is good to keep an eye on DBS for the meantime. Now, let's see how much of the DBS profit was distributed to the shareholders as dividend. Here we have DBS dividend record over a decade from 2010 to 2020. In this graph, I've plotted the dividend payout as circle connected by a thick line. As comparison to their earnings, I've also included their EPS as a thinner line. We can see that DBS have reasonable dividend distribution over the decade, which is, if we see the trend, it is around 38 to 60% of their profit, except in 2018, which is almost 75%, quite big. I would like to note too that DBS most of the time distribute non-cash dividend. That is an option to receive share instead of cash, or sometimes called scrip dividend. Giving out dividend as scrip help DBS to maintain more cash at their balance sheet. So far we have seen DBS performance. The next question is, should I take a long position on DBS right now? Okay, my quick take is no. Why? Let's go through the details. Here I made a rather crowded plot which consists of the price movement for the last 10 years in red. I've also plotted the quarterly earning multiplier as dashed horizontal lines. Earning multiplier, sometimes also called the price earning ratio or PE. Since the plot here is rather complex, let's go through it one component at a time. So let me put the most common chart first. Here I plot the price movement for the last 10 years. Pretty simple to see, isn't it? Over the last 10 years, the general trend is going up with a few notable drops. From mid-2015 to early 2016. Another one in mid-2018 to early 2019. And finally, the extreme drop in the first quarter of 2020. And now I add earning multiply against the price. In this case, when the price is 10 multiply of the quarterly earning or PE 10. In short, they are plotted as dark green dashed line. We can see that for the last 10 years, the price doesn't move that far from PE 10. The next one, I added the price at PE 15. Okay, let's look at the graph more carefully. I've plotted as light green. The PE 15 I plotted as light green. By this time, a pattern emerged. Can you see the pattern now? The pattern is that DBS price have been bouncing between PE 10 and PE 15 for the past 5 years. The last time when the price almost reached PE 15 is mid-2018. Since mid-2018, it has been bouncing away from it till drop below PE 10 in the first quarter of 2020. Good times to go into long position at that time. But now, as we can see, DBS price have been climbing rather aggressively. It has poked through the PE 15 barrier. This kind of like get me worried. It seems like it's telling me that it's due to drop again soon. How much it can go down, I'm not really sure, but perhaps $19 per share will be an interesting price point. This could be wrong if DBS earning increases significantly in the first quarter of 2021. So, in conclusion, let me wrap this up. Let me wrap this video, okay? DBS Holding is a solid financial institution, as we've seen from their earnings so far. Okay, 2, but this time I will not be making any position in DBS, as the price is rather steep as compared to its earning. Okay, 3, furthermore, a single lot price of DBS is way beyond my current cash capability. A single lot price of DBS is around $2,800. Okay, it's way beyond my current cash capability. Okay, that's all for this video, for today's video. I'll see you again next time. Please subscribe for more of this kind of video. Finally, feel free to put your comments, criticism, and suggestion in the comment section. But please be nice to me as this is my first video on Singapore stock. Okay, bye-bye.